Coming up today, South Korea slams North Korea after the regime launches 3 ballistic missiles into the East Sea. The US and Japan also denounced Pyongyang's latest provocation. South Korea's Prime Minister tells lawmakers that the government does not need parliamentary approval for the upcoming deployment of a powerful US anti-missile defense system. Plus, the IMF cuts its global growth outlook for this year to 3.1%, saying Britain's decision to leave the European Union has thrown a spanner in the works. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello to our viewers around the world. It's 6 a.m. on Wednesday, July 20th here in Seoul. Thank you ever so much for joining us this morning. I'm Mark Broom. We are going to start with the latest provocation from Pyongyang. North Korea lobbed more ballistic missiles off its east coast on Tuesday in an apparent expression of anger over the South Korea-US decision to deploy the THAAD anti-missile defense system to the south. The launches were swiftly condemned by South Korea, the United States and Japan. Seoul says the firings were a clear violation of international sanctions on Pyongyang. Gwon starts us off.
South Korea's foreign ministry condemned North Korea's ballistic missile tests on Tuesday and urged the regime to immediately put a stop to such provocative acts. The ministry spokesperson said the launches are a clear violation of the UN Security Council resolution on Pyongyang and vowed stronger measures if the provocations continue.
The South Korean government is closely cooperating with the international community to take the necessary diplomatic action.
After confirming the 3 missile launches, the U.S. was also quick to denounce the regime. A Pentagon spokesman said Washington condemns Tuesday's test and North Korea's other recent missile tests, which are explicitly banned by the UN Security Council. Japanese Defense Minister Gen Nakatani took a similar tone, calling the missile tests a provocation that damages global peace and security. Amid the string of various missile tests, speculations are arousing that another nuclear test could take place anytime soon. Some experts say that could happen within this month, most probably around July 27th, which marks the 63rd anniversary of what North Korea claims to be its victory of the Korean War. Others say leader Kim Jong-un would take his time.
For North Korea, a nuclear test is the ultimate method of pressuring the US. The regime would use it as a negotiating card with the next administration, so I think the chances are slim that North Korea would conduct a nuclear test during the rest of Obama's term.
Although there are no immediate signs of a test at the North's main nuclear test site, South Korea numerously said Pyongyang could be readying itself anytime. According to Seoul's foreign ministry on Tuesday, South Korea is doing everything it can on the diplomatic front to ensure a stronger statement on North Korea, which is expected to be issued at the ASEAN Regional Forum in Laos this month. Kwon So-ah, Arirang News.
Now, the White House has also strongly condemned North Korea's latest missile provocation, reiterating Washington's stance. In a regular press briefing on Tuesday, spokesman Josh Earnest said he's convinced countries like Russia and China, in addition to US allies South Korea and Japan, will be discussing the issue going forward. He added that all would be concerned about North Korea's action that undermines regional stability. In particular, the White House spokesman said North Korea is more isolated than ever, and he called on Pyongyang to make a strategic decision to come back into the international community. Now, back here in South Korea, lawmakers on Tuesday kicked off a 2-day Q&A session with government officials over the ongoing controversy surrounding the upcoming deployment of the THAAD anti-missile defense system. Our National Assembly correspondent Ji Myung-gil with the details.
South Korean Prime Minister Hwang Kyo-ahn stressed on Tuesday that the U.S. missile defense system was not subject to parliamentary approval.
There are numerous weapon systems deployed by the US military to South Korea. Such weapons are stationed here under the Seoul-Washington Mutual Defense Treaty. Therefore, THAAD falls under this category and does not need parliamentary approval.
Hwang pointed out that Pyongyang conducted its fourth nuclear test this year and fired 27 ballistic missiles until now, including Tuesday morning's rockets, adding that that was pivotal not only for the country's security but also to beef up South Korea's military against North Korea's nuclear and missile provocations. Regarding worries that the THAAD radar could cause health-related issues, the defense minister ruled out such claims.
The THAAD radar beams will be stationed in Seongju and go functional at an elevation of 389 meters. The THAAD battery in Guam was tested on the ground. There are no health risks.
This came in reference to a recent test performed at the THAAD base in Guam on Monday, where readings came out well below the limit permitted under Korean law. He also said the radar is designed to detect and track aerial targets, adding that the radar will be tilted upward at an angle of 5 degrees, keeping the radar beams away from the ground. The ruling's Haeunri party sided with the government, saying the safety of the South Korean people comes first, above all else, and called for an end to the THAAD debate. Concerning the possible economic reprisals from China brought up by the opposition parties, Foreign Minister Yoon Byung-se said it was unlikely.
The government has not heard of any possible economic restrictions from the Chinese government. We do not have to assume and make a fuss on something that has not happened.
Yoon said Seoul is continuously making efforts to come to an understanding with Beijing regarding the THAAD deployment, and is also devising measures to counter any economic retaliation from China. Kim Young-git, Arirang News.
Now, Korea's senior presidential secretary is in hot water after local media outlets raised suspicions he may be involved in a kickback scandal surrounding online game maker Nexon, and a senior prosecutor, the presidential office and the top secretary himself deny the allegations. Lee Min-young has the details.
The presidential office of Cheongwadae on Tuesday denounced allegations of senior presidential secretary Woo Byung-woo being involved in suspicious real estate deals with online game maker Nexon, which has already gotten itself mired in high-profile corruption scandals. Seoul prosecutor's office also embarked on an investigation into the case. The real estate in question is an expensive building near Gangnam Station, an affluent district in southern Seoul, which was owned by Woo's in-laws. On Monday, local media outlets reported that Woo used his personal connections to have Nexon purchase the real estate worth $113 million, as the family of Woo's wife was having difficulty paying inheritance tax that mounts up to roughly $50 million. In 2011, Nexon purchased the building from Woo's in-laws, saying for the purpose of setting new offices, but the online game company was already constructing a new office building in Pangyo, in the outskirts of Seoul. After only a year, the online game company sold the Gangnam real estate away. Local newspaper The Joseon-ilbo raised suspicions that in this process, senior prosecutor Jin Kyung-jun may have helped Woo cut the real estate deal, acting as a broker in between. Jin is known to be Nexon's founder Kim Jong-ju's friend from college, and Jin himself was arrested on charges of alleged corruption for receiving kickbacks from Nexon in exchange for favors to cover up company irregularities. Woo, as well as real estate agents who brokered the deal, claim it was a normal transaction.
Nexon wanted to build a new office, and we played a leading role in finding the right place. They wouldn't have given us closing costs if Woo's in-laws asked Nexon through the senior prosecutor.
Later in the day, the top presidential secretary filed a defamation suit against the Joseon-ilbo. Meanwhile, the prosecution asked the Seoul Central District Court on Tuesday to freeze all assets of the scandal-stricken senior prosecutor Jin, which is worth about $12 million. Lee Min-young, Arirang News.
Now, over in the U.S., the Republican Party's four-day national convention is well underway in Ohio. Heightened security and plenty of controversy to go around as the GOP sets itself on the path to nominating its presumptive nominee, Donald Trump. Park Ji-won reports from Cleveland.
Tens of thousands of GOP delegates and representatives are attending the 2016 Republican National Convention. The first day of the highly anticipated event saw 47 speakers come to the floor under the slogan, "Make America Safe Again," a theme Donald Trump has been pushing in recent weeks as he looks to establish himself as a law and order candidate. The speakers talked passionately about diverse issues from terrorism, illegal immigration to veteran issues.
Tonight, our commitment is this. Making America great again starts by taking care of our veterans.
Let's make America great again, but let's make America again.
The highlight of the day, though, was a 15-minute speech by Melania Trump, Donald Trump's wife, which painted the billionaire businessman as a talented and unrelenting leader. That moment, however, was quickly overshadowed by controversy after social media commentators pointed out striking similarities between her words and those of Michelle Obama at the 2008 Democratic National Convention. The Republican National Committee chair reportedly said he'd probably fire the writer responsible for Mrs. Trump's speech. And throughout the convention, we'll be hearing a lot from the Trumps, altogether 5 of them, including the presumptive Republican nominee Donald Trump and his daughter, Ivanka. By and large, attendees expressed their excitement about their presumptive nominee.
Definitely want Donald Trump because we need something different. He's a businessman, and our country is just totally upside down on our budget, and I think that he will bring our budget back, and he's committed to helping our veterans who have been really ignored for the past 8 years.
I think the GOP should unify behind him. I didn't agree with everything he said, but I'm excited to campaign and work hard for him as the nominee.
However, not everyone is happy.
I am not satisfied with Trump as the nominee. I'm disappointed and I'm very concerned that he'll be a weak nominee and lose to Hillary Clinton.
On top of the delegates, some 15,000 journalists are covering the event, and given the powder keg level of tension and elevated terror threat, police and security personnel are on the highest level of alert to ensure the safety of everyone inside the venue. The convention runs through Thursday night local time, inviting more than 40 speakers to the floor. Park Ji-won, Arirang News, Cleveland.
Now, the International Monetary Fund has cut its global growth outlook for this year. The latest forecast comes mainly on the back of possible fallout linked to Britain's recent decision to leave the European Union. Kim Min-ji reports.
The International Monetary Fund expects the global economy to expand 3.1% this year. The new growth outlook is down 0.1 percentage points from its earlier forecast made in April. It also slashed the global economic outlook for 2017 to 3.4%. The revision comes as Britain's decision to depart the European Union continues to kindle more uncertainties, undermining the growth outlook for advanced economies. The IMF says other external concerns include trouble surrounding European banks as well as China's piling debt. Breaking it down by country, the UK, expected to be hit directly, is forecast to grow 1.7% this year, down 0.2 percentage points from the earlier forecast. Next year's outlook, when the impact starts to kick in full swing, was slashed 0.9 percentage points. Emerging economies like China, less affected by the Brexit vote, are more or less expected to be unchanged or edge up slightly. Although Korea was not included, the IMF's earlier forecast expects the country to grow 2.7% this year, revised down from 2.9%. The IMF says countries need to spur domestic consumption in the short term and push for structural reforms in the long run. The institution added that governments need to take aggressive policy measures in case of further market volatility and economic uncertainties. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News.
Now, the controversial purging campaign by Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is spreading. Turkey's Higher Education Board on Tuesday ordered the resignation of more than 1,500 university deans. State broadcaster TRT says the resignations are being sought at both state and privately run universities. The government says those behind last Friday's failed military coup will pay a hefty price. President Erdogan told a crowd of supporters on Tuesday that the government will be making a big announcement on Wednesday. He said a National Security Council meeting will be convened, followed by a cabinet meeting where the announcement will be made. He stopped short of giving details, but some predict it may involve revising the constitution to restore the death penalty and a state centering on the president. Well, that's all we have for now on this Wednesday morning here in Seoul. I'm Mark Broom. Thank you, as always, for watching. We'll be back throughout the day with more newscasts. Our next scheduled bulletin coming up at 10 a.m. Korea time. So until then, goodbye.